Yes. So this is Guido from the Goal Trainers, the True Potential podcast. And today we have Dennis from Miltenburg. Dennis is the owner, founder of a holistic movement and the author of A Holistic Journey, which will be maybe in the future translated in English, but in Dutch, A Holistische Reis. Dennis, holistic worker, body worker, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, let's directly start with your book, man, because it's such an interesting title, I think already. Like holistic work might not be very known to everybody that's listening. How did you come up with that title, holistic?
The title, The Holistische Reis, or The Holistic Journey. It's,
Yeah.
This book, I came across it. Well, the reason I wrote it is kind of like my life's path, I guess. I had my own problems, traumas, and I tried to suppress all of it. And it always came back. And then I started to work out. And for me, working out was not only like a physical release, but also emotional and mental. I felt better on all aspects of that. So I wanted to know why. So I started to, I started to study psychosomatics and all these things. I traveled the world to see types of healing from other cultures, from other countries. And I soon found out that many things that consist out of you are connected with each other. So the book is called The Holistische Reis, or The Holistic Journey Through Body, Mind, and Soul, which means they all influence each other and they actually need each other. So we all know, like, if you want to do something, if you want to do a push-up or you want to create something, you first have to think about it and then you have to do something. So often when you have a physical problem, there might be an emotional blockage or a mental pattern that is stuck within you. So if you just go to the physiotherapist, nothing will happen. But if you're only going to talk to like a psychologist, nothing will happen either. So I try to combine all these expertise into one thing.
Yeah, where it all comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nothing is left out. So
exactly, and that's the entire definition of the holistic part. Holistic means I'm going to look at every aspect of you. Body, mind, emotion, spirit, whatever it is. Yeah.
So let's say if someone comes to you and how does that look like? Like can you give an example of a way that you approach? Because like let's say like this, at a personal trainer, you're gonna go for training, right? You get some kind of workout, mostly. At a physiotherapist, you get a kind of body check, and like what do you get when you come to you?
Well, for instance, when I used to do just personal training, holistic personal training, where I have a course about now, I got people who just wanted to become fit, and if I wanted to give them an exercise, they couldn't perform the exercise because their mobility wasn't good enough. So if they had to bend forward, like the back was so tight that they couldn't bend forward. So we had to stretch first to open it up. But every week after week after week, we had to do the same stretches, but like the muscle tightness was still there. And I wanted to find out why is it still there. And that's usually because they are holding on to certain tightness or tension in the mind or in the emotions or whatever it is that reflects in the body. So whenever I figured out some exercises where they released emotionally or created different thought patterns, then they were able to bend further and were able to do the exercises. And that developed further that I got into coaching. So I became a holistic coach and after that a holistic therapist, which means people with many different kinds of problems come to me. Now it's physical diseases, chronic pain. People are depressed or are suicidal. They all come to me and I do physical, mental, and emotional work on them. So, but I also have many people who have injuries, physical injuries, and sometimes it's just physical. Like I need to fix them just on the physical part. I mean, like if you had an accident, like well, we can go back into your past and figure out what went wrong, but it's still an accident, so we need to, fix that. Yeah, but many different types of problems I work with now.
Yeah, what I found also interesting, and I heard you saying that in the talk that you posted yesterday as well on PD Talks. It's also one of your platforms, right?
I got invited there. Yeah.
Invited. Yeah. So what is super interesting, or what really stuck with me, is you were telling about like, okay, somebody comes to you and says like, hey, I have this problem here. Can you fix it? And then you like actually reverse that and you say, look, I'm here not to fix your problems. I'm here to guide you through the process of you fixing yourself in the best way possible.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So my concept in my business of holistic movement is I want to get rid of you as soon as possible, right? I don't want you to linger on me for years. If you have a problem, I'm going to give you the tools and help you so that you can fix your own problem. Plus, if you will have a new problem, because life is full of problems, life is full of pain, full of suffering, and whatever it might come to you, if you cannot fix this, many worse things will come afterwards. So if you know, and if you have the tools to fix this, you know how to fix the next problem, and so on. And the second part is, if you come to me, I will assist you that you heal yourself, you help yourself. But lost my train of thought there actually.
You help, give tools to help somebody heal himself or herself.
Yes. Well, that first, and I'm gonna stay behind it like this, because many people are like, all right, here's a problem, fix it, and we all want this medicine or this quick fix. Like, I want to get rid of this as soon as possible. So whatever it is, if you have pain or a trauma or a fear, we try to suppress it as deep as possible, and it will always come back. It will always come back. So better to look at it and confront yourself with the pain or the problem and heal yourself from it and be able to move better, be able to feel more, be able to think more positive thoughts, and then create a better life. So for me, my purpose is, if you with a specific problem, I want to see what it's linked on multiple aspects of your life and heal you in all aspects until you go.
Yeah. So the longer you keep neglecting something, actually you're saying it will come back at some point in your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same, like, if you're working out and you stop for half a year, like the muscles will not stay there, like they will deteriorate.
Yeah.
So you need to keep training in order to stay healthy and become healthier. And the same, if you suppress something and say it's not there, like it's still somewhere within you. You didn't ignore it. You feared it, and you push it deep into your subconscious mind, where it always has effect on you. And a good example is actually anger. And like every human being has anger, or rage, or whatever it might be. And especially men, due to like higher testosterone, we feel anger, but we are also afraid of it, and it's it's not necessarily accepted in our life or in our society, so we suppress it. And what happens then? You suppress it. We're also a bit scared of it. No one likes it, but people keep on triggering you until it just comes up, and you cannot control it. And everyone very much is afraid of that. Like we all have these outbursts, or like that we could become so angry, and like it becomes black before your eyes. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have control of it. So better to express it now, learn it, control it, and when someone pushes your buttons, you can say like, I'm about to get angry and I don't want that, so let's just stop. Then you have control.
Yeah. You take responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Responsibility for it.
Yeah, interesting, man. That how did it come to you then that you got such a deep interest? Did you become really angry in the past as well, and that you thought like how does it work? Or,
Actually, when I found out that my anger was suppressed, was actually a few years ago when I lived in another house, and our top neighbors, there were a couple, and um, we had the doors open, and we heard them having a fight, and we heard you know furniture breaking or falling and whatever, and we kind of like we couldn't hear it for sure, but it felt like they were fighting, like literally fighting. So I went on to the stairways to listen, but my heart was racing. Like, what can I do? You know, like in that situation, what is my level of care? Like, am I allowed to intercept or something? But eventually I heard him cry, and he said like, "Well, you were hitting me too." So I was like, "Okay, apparently this is in a way balanced or whatever." So I'll leave it. And the next day it happened again. I saw him walking away angry. And the third day it happened again, and I was home alone then. And for me, like 2 days already, it built up until here because I feel powerless as well. And then I heard her crying and him hitting her. So I went to the stairways, and my fists were like cramped up like this, and I screamed up out of the top of my lungs that he had to quit. And he opened the door, and he knew I was like two two heads taller than him. And he said like, "What?" I said like, "You have to stop now." And he said like, "Oh, well, there's no problem. There's no problem." I said like, "Come down here, then you'll have a problem." And I've never said that in my life. I've never said like, "Oh, come here, you'll have a problem." I'm always calm.
uh,
But now, like, the fists were like this, and in my head, it was like, if he walks down, I mean, it's his home. Like, he might have a knife or whatever. I want to kill him. I really felt that. So if he would come down, like, I don't know what I would have done because I didn't have control over myself. And obviously, he hit the door. He closed the door. Everything was quiet. The next day, he left, and they broke up, which is, I guess, a good thing. But
yeah.
for me, I couldn't handle that. So I closed my door, and I was screaming the top of my lungs. I was like yelling and screaming, and I had to punch a pillow. And then I developed this exercise that I use now. I have like a punching bag or a boxing bag, and I let people not like necessarily with technique punching, but like get all your rage out against like a punching bag. Get everything out. Punch a pillow, punch your mattress, get all this physical anger out, and learn what level of anger you have or what is stuck there, or like accept what is in you, and then it's also out. Like the
Wow.
anger is out, and after that you feel so much lighter, so much lighter. And I can imagine, I haven't experienced anything else anymore, but if something like that happens again and I encounter it, I will react so much calmer now because I
Mm.
control the anger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also maybe on day one already you would like
Do something.
understand the feeling and act upon it.
Yes, perhaps I can even help him.
Yeah, you're like, hey, have you read my book?
That's not good people. Yeah,
No,
because
no,
like it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel sad, but you have no right to share your anger at someone else at all.
no, exactly. And if we make that like from that point, very interesting story. Thanks for sharing. Like if we jump from that story towards the emotion of fear, right? What is currently actually quite and already for a long time, but I think currently it's like really been portrayed as a big message. Um, is there a tip or a couple tips? Would you say like that's how I would deal with that?
Right, that's a good question. I think in general there is no correct answer to that, because there's a reason people are fearful. I mean, these are very strange times. In general, we like our generations have never experienced something like this. We haven't experienced like a collective epidemic or like a world war or whatever it is. And within all of this chaos, everyone is trying their best to maintain it or control it or whatever, however you look at control. The only thing you can do is look in yourself. And if you are frightened of something, well, first of all, accept that you're scared. If you're going to deny that you're fearful, like, it's going to get worse. So first of all, accept that you're scared somewhere in some way, and then look at it like it's fine to be scared. Like, in general, on the instinctive level, it's necessary to be scared of certain things. When you're sort of like a very deep ravine, it's logical that you're scared because you might fall, right? But on the other sense, maybe the media and whatever people are getting out there on the social media is also to frighten you. And then you have the definition of fear: false evidence appearing real, which means this is a fear that's not necessarily instinctively true and necessary. And coming back to my work, what I teach my clients is you'll never, if you confront your fear, another fear will come into its place. So the reality is you will never become less fearful. You can only create more courage to take on those fears.
Yeah, interesting. So that's an interesting quote. I don't know if you wrote it down or that you got that. You can never become less fearful. You can only develop more courage.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. It's a quote from who?
No, from you.
Oh. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Right, like good to. It just stuck with me, like when you said it, because so many people see fear also as a bad thing, right? And they really want to, what you said also with anger, like suppress that.
Yeah.
Don't accept that, and then it can only become worse. Correct?
Yeah.
So how do you recognize that in yourself or in others, close relatives around you? Like, is it the feeling that you also have, or how does that work?
I don't quite understand. What do you mean? If I recognize
the fear in yourself or in others, like that come to you.
You mean fear in general of what is happening now?
Let's first say in general. Let's say someone wants to work with you, has trouble, for example, physical pain, but you realize at some point, hey, this is actually, I have the feeling, or I observe that it has a close relation to the fear, and then
right.
How does that work?
I understand. So, you've studied fascia, you've studied many things about the body. Within those studies, you probably went towards the brain and the nervous system as well. And within the nervous system, you have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, which means you have the fight or flight and the rest and digest. So if you're relaxed and everything is fine, you can eat and you can digest everything. But when you're in danger, and let's say it's the same brain circuitry that's in animals like mammals, and if a gazelle is getting chased by a lion, it needs to run. So it gets to the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, and that's fear, like, fear for your life. So you need to run for your life. So all the energy goes towards your muscles. The adrenal glands pump adrenaline into your blood, and you need to go, or fight back, whatever it is. So your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up, and when the danger is gone, then you can relax again. Now, humans find it very difficult after they have been in danger to release that tension and let go. Like, okay, it's safe now. They will hold on to it. So they stay fearful after a fearful aspect has passed. That's one thing that's called trauma in that way. So coming back to your question is how I see that people are in fear is when their heart rate is still up, or when they get triggered about something that they think is danger, which when it's actually not, then I know that they are in fear. Yeah. because their body reacts to it. You have this internal gut or instinctive mechanism that says like there is an alarm, which is in fact not, or it is. But either way, usually it's distorted, and I work with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you observe the signs that somebody's body is giving.
Yes, the body never lies.
That's another quote. I like that one. So yeah, it's also when you see that, right? And um, somebody might not even notice it himself consciously, right? So
No.
then, what would be the follow up? How do you have,
Right. They
what's
might not know
the next step for that?
Yeah, so they might not know it consciously because they're also suppressing something. They maybe in some level they do know, but they don't want to look there because it's too confronting. So you know, like it's very dangerous to re-traumatize someone. If someone is traumatized and bring back up the memory which traumatized them, it can be very scary. What I learned and what I do in my practices is usually I teach some people forms of self-defense, which might sound strange, but you know, you've probably done some form of like boxing or kickboxing or whatever it is.
Yeah, judo. I did.
Oh, nice, perfect. That's even better. I myself have done a lot of Muay Thai, MMA, and Krav Maga. And what I learned there is, you know, the more you learn some techniques, doesn't mean I will fight or know how to fight necessarily, but it gives me a form of confidence. So if I'm afraid to go back to the past where I felt powerless or overwhelmed, and right now I learn how to defend for myself, I can go back more confident towards that past. And forms of martial arts, in a miraculous way, really help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So because you're standing more upright, more confident now, and with your arsenal of tools that come also from martial arts, you're actually more confident about diving into things that happened to you in the past.
Yeah.
And that's why you can actually step out stronger because you're facing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a whole different level, and I feel like this level of work that you're doing, I don't want to generalize you. At the same time, there's like this level of awareness is rising, right, about the field. Do you see that as well? Like, how's your perspective to that?
Level of awareness, what do you mean exactly?
In like the field of holistic work, more and more trainers or coaches are using different aspects, elements of other cultures, or even like combining physiology and psychology. That's also way more integrated in personal training.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that?
Well, in that sense, I think it's great. So, I mean, obviously, you will always have your experts who will focus on one thing. Um, um, and an expert can be, well, a fun definition of an expert is someone who knows more about less and less until he eventually knows everything about nothing. So it's better to have different types of skills and, you know, like, if you're a trainer or whatever it is, you're trying to help a person, not on one level, but on multiple levels. So like you said, like awareness is growing and like the level of, what do you call it? In a strange way, awakening is happening. So the more people who work on this, the better we can help people. And in that sense, you experience the ripple effect. If I help you fully to get in your strength and heal you on all aspects of your life, your positivity and your health and your radiance will influence your friends, your family, or your partner, and it will continue on, which is kind of what we all need right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's vital during these times, specifically, especially. So okay, that's brings me actually to your course, because you're helping now trainers, movement specialists, but also massage therapists, you said, with holistic training and holistic approach to training. Can you tell a little bit more about the benefits of doing that course with you?
Yeah, so I have this course which is called Course Holistic Trainer, um, which means I'm gonna look at all aspects of your life, like I said before, but it's in a way it's the entire method that I use, which means I look at someone's posture, which means I look at the spine, and the spine has certain nerves going towards muscles, organs, glands, and whatever it is. If one of those things doesn't work very well, it has effect on the entire spine. But also, like you said, different cultures. For instance, in Hinduism and Buddhism, they use chakras and meridians. And I found a way to connect the chakras to the certain vertebrae in the spine. Um, Things like that I combine along with types of brain I was talking about before. Like we have different brain types, like the brainstem, limbic system, and neocortex. Often, or some of them, which we share with other animals. And if you study those animals, you can learn more about yourself. So I created a system to see if you have a physical problem, where does it come from, and what can you link towards, like the brain and nerve system, the chakras, until the core of that problem. So it's a mapped out system to see where certain problems come from. And everyone who does physical work with someone can really benefit with this. Yeah.
Everyone that does, yeah, that's super interesting. So let's talk a little bit more about chakras, because I'm like, okay, this could be something for me as well. Um, and for example, I have a grandmother that is teaching yoga already for 40 years, and I have like the blessing that she wrote a book also, and I know a little bit more about that. At the same time, I'm interested in the holistic approach. So you combine chakras with the spine, or like, and then you teach that in your course. So how
Yes.
to observe something. Can you give an example of that?
Yeah. For instance, you have 7 chakras going up the spine. There are actually more, but let's leave it at that. And for
Yeah.
instance, within your neck area, you have the throat chakra, which they in Hinduism they have a certain meaning. You know, are you creative enough? Do you speak your own truth? Right? Do you dare to speak out when you have an opinion, or do you stand still and like swallow your words in? I for once had a problem with my throat chakra. Um, I was lying all the time because when I was telling the truth when I was younger, people freaked out in a way. So I thought like, okay, then I'll lie. So like nothing happened. Okay. And I kept doing that until like I had so much pain in my neck and I had to crack it all the time, and had a stiff neck for many times, until like I went to like the physiotherapist, and he adjusted my neck, but it came back again until I researched the meaning of those chakras. And I was lying, and I wasn't telling what I really felt in my heart, you know. And after I started doing that, the problems with my neck, my spine went away.
So well, so
Yeah.
that's so connected.
Exactly. So there's a reason you have a problem here or here or here. Like there are multiple reasons, and it's not just like fix your posture. Yeah, for sure. Also that, but you need to work on something internally as well. And for me, and it's still sometimes difficult, but speak the truth. Speak the truth.
Yeah. So that's an element, and a very big one also. Yeah, I'm quite like seeing the relationship between like so many things. Problems. You also gave in your talk yesterday the connection between the lower back pain and your knee, right? And
Yeah.
that your psoas is going like, and because this is also a time that people are sitting at home and working at home and doing even more seated things, almost like like before, because they don't have to go with the bike to the work, or don't have to go walking to the bus, or walk, not even walking to the car. So I see lower back pain as one of the main problems in our society, right? Like, and of course, the real problem is deeper. At the same time, people want to treat their lower back pain. Okay. Do you have some tips for that to begin with?
Ooh, that's a difficult one, because like the lower back is very, very complex. We actually talked about the psoas before our talk. And that's one muscle. It's called the muscle of the soul, and there's one muscle that gets very tight due to past traumas or past fears. So that's one thing to look at. But the lower back has many, many different muscles, and when it comes to the chakras, there are 3 chakras within those lower vertebrae, which means the root chakra, the sex chakra, and the solar plexus. They all have different meanings, and like it depends on where you at in your life, or whatever you're doing or whatever you experience can have effect on the lower back. So I cannot specifically give tips on like you should do this. Well, in general, like you said, the most surface part is we're sitting a lot. Yeah, go up, stand, stretch every once in a while. I, for one, am sitting on a desk chair, but actually in the back I have a Swiss ball, and I sit on that a lot. So you're forcing yourself to stabilize the back when you are sitting. That's one good thing to do. And stretch, yeah. There are many yoga. I have 1 or 2 specific stretches for the lower back that I always do, almost every day. But there are many yoga practices or Pilates practices to stretch the lower back. The thing is, if you start feeling something, don't ignore it. Like, look something up, do some stretches to not make it worse. And prevention is way better than healing.
Yeah. That's totally agree with that. Now, I believe also it's difficult, and there are so many things connected to this lower back area, right? Like, this is like a huge portal into diving into yourself. So yeah, I think it's also like, do your own research and keep moving, right? Every now and then get up. Dennis, you're already in a holistic movement, and your company exists for 5 years, 6 years. Did I see that right?
Something like 5 years. Yeah.
So holistic movement has some lifespan. Let's say that you were talking to the Dennis that just started holistic movement. What would there be for insights, for questions, or things that you could ask or tell that Dennis that just started?
That's an interesting question. First thing that comes up is enjoy the ride. In that sense, I don't want to give the Dennis who first started any tips or tricks, or I don't want to give him any tips, or else I would be somewhere else that I am now. If I give him some advice on how to do things differently or how not to do things, I'm not giving him the opportunity to figure it out himself, which are the challenges itself. I'm actually very, very happy where I stand now. The one thing is that I took it very, very seriously for a long time, and I put too much meaning on the entire aspect of entrepreneuring, which took out the fun a bit. So enjoy the ride. That's the only thing I would say.
That's quick, but definitely not a simple tip always for some.
Yeah.
So, and now, especially now, so how to get that fun right now? Like, how do you get the fun on a daily basis?
Well, like in general, I'm quite a serious guy, but I really enjoy having fun, obviously. But as you can see behind me, I have like a nice library, so I love reading. I'm living with my girlfriend, and we're enjoying our time. We have a small cat who's playing the whole time. and I keep exercising. It makes me very happy to train. And if I see during the week or during a month, I see some progression, it makes me happy. If I learn something new, if I read something new, it makes me happy. If I just sit back, don't do anything and watch a stupid movie, I'm happy. So I actually, and I'm, like my purpose is helping to heal people. And so far my work still continues. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I actually see a lot of beautiful progressions within the people I work with. So I'm really grateful for that as well. So actually, yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm enjoying myself.
Nice. And you get happy from a lot of things, a lot of small things you're telling. So that's beautiful. Yeah. And the aspect of healing has also translations to your new book that you're writing.
Sorry?
The aspects of healing have a lot of translation. You're writing about it in your new book, right? It was like what was the name again?
Holistic Healing.
Holistic Healing.
Like I'm still working on it. It's hopefully almost finished. You never know. But yeah, I talk a bit more about if there is a problem, then what you need to look at in order to fix it. So we go deep into your shadow, we go into your past, we see where you come from on an evolutionary perspective, but also on an individual perspective, how you are conditioned by your mom and dad and the environment, and how you developed yourself and how you can do that more and more and more. That's what what my second book is about. The first book, The Holistic Journey, is more about the connection between the body, the mind, and the soul. Yeah,
exactly. So what makes that stand out from all the other books out there? That's a question also for a person that is like doubting and listening to this and thinking like, hey, should I buy that book? What makes that book stand out, Dennis?
You tell me. So yeah, what does it well, I cannot really answer that. People can need to answer that for themselves. I cannot really say that. What I do say is I was actually looking for a book or for something that would give me all the answers. And in many, many types of books and things, I saw only part of the answer. So I saved those answers and I wrote them down, or I saved them in the books. And from many types of sources, I created like a bigger answer. I'm not saying my book is the answer, but it's close to the answers you might look for. So I think it's a sum up of many things that I learned along the years, backed up by many types of research, and that's that.
Yeah. So I love the part that you say, okay, it's not that you have the answer, but it's a part of it. And it would also be the book that you would love to read when you were still on another part of your journey, right? Like back then, it could have helped you a lot.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of type of book that you want to write, right? Like the book that would help you in the past. Like what book would help me in the past? And then you write, that's an interesting perspective, man.
It's a good way to think about it. Yeah, it's a nice way to think about it. Yeah, nice.
Cool. Dennis, hey, I want to thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you.
And where can people find you and your book and your courses best?
You can order my book online at bol.com or the Amazon. You can send me a personal message to get one too. The course and all the online sessions are at holisticmovement.nl. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. But mainly the website, holisticmovement.nl.
Cool, man. Dennis, again, thank you so much for being here. And let's keep exploring ourselves, man.
Let's do that.
Yes.